Okay, so hello everyone. Nice to see you all here. We're very glad so that you came today with us. And my name is Lisa Arroyo. I represent Education USA at the Esquina Franklin, Guadalajara. And well, we provide information and guidance to any person interested in studying in the United States. So today, it's a very special day. You know that this month we celebrate Pride Month. Okay, and this is the last week for this celebration. So this is a great opportunity for all of us because we as Education USA advisors, we have the opportunity to provide this kind of information. Also, this is a good opportunity so that all the people who belong to the LGBTQ plus communities receive also this information. And well, this doesn't mean that we won't provide also this information in any other time of the year. But okay, so this is like a good start also to continue providing information on these topics that we're going to share today with all of you. Okay, so it is my pleasure to introduce you to Caitlin King from Indiana University, Bloomington, and Margot Cowden from Point Foundation. They are our hosts today, our speakers today. So thank you for being here, both of you. And we also welcome Joshua Guzman, who's connected online, and our three attendees here at the Esquina Franklin, Guadalajara. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, we hope this information is very helpful to all of you. And also at the end of this coffee talk, okay, you can ask questions to our speakers. And after this also, I'm available to be your Education USA advisor, okay? So this is going to be more like a talk, okay? This is a coffee talk. So I invite the speakers to also to add some information while someone is speaking. So at the end, you can add up also some information related to your own experience and on what you are experts in, okay? So we're going to start with Caitlin. Okay, by the way, my pronouns are she and her. So I invite you to also share what your pronouns are so that also our attendees can ask you some questions and they know, okay, what pronouns refer to. So Caitlin, so could you please introduce yourself?
Absolutely, yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Caitlin King. I use she, her pronouns. I just graduated from IU Bloomington with my bachelor's degree, and I'm continuing on to a master's degree, also at IU Bloomington, in higher education and student affairs. So basically how colleges and universities work and how to make systems suck less is a little motto that I use talking about myself. So during my undergrad, my bachelor's degree, I've been really involved with supporting LGBTQ plus students on the Bloomington campus, as well as throughout the IU system, the other 8 campuses that IU has, and to some degree throughout the state of Indiana as well. So I am very excited to be with you all here today and to talk a little bit more about, what different colleges and universities in the U.S. can offer LGBTQ plus students, international students as well.
Let's talk about the IU's LGBTQ plus center, and what is your role there?
Absolutely, yeah. So IU has an LGBTQ plus culture center.
Our
and
connection is
not... Oh, are we losing you, Liz? Are we back now?
Oh, sorry, our connection is not working very well.
That's okay. Are we back? Can you hear me okay?
Okay, we're back.
Okay, great. Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes, I'm going to turn the camera off so that we have a better connection. Okay, but my mic is going to be on, all right?
Great.
Okay, yeah, my question is, all right, could you please talk about I use LGBTQ plus center and what is your role there?
Absolutely, yeah. So IU Bloomington has an LGBTQ plus culture center. The role of that center is to support LGBTQ plus students, as well as faculty and staff on the Bloomington campus and in the community. We have been around for about almost 30 years now. 1994 is when we were founded. So I was a student worker there, and still I'm about to, like I said, head out for my master's, but and move to a different IU office. But I work there and I do all of our training and educational programs. So I am the training programs coordinator. So I give lectures to the public. I consult with different IU offices and clubs and things like that to help improve equality for LGBTQ plus people.
Yeah, thank you. So it's amazing to know that there's a center just for these communities, right? So can you please share with us what kinds of services
Yes.
does this center offer?
Absolutely. So we have quite a lot of different things. And of course, I don't mean to say that every university will have these things, right? We offer some things, and I'm sure there are lots of things happening other places that we don't have, right? That we could take, and use here too. But so we offer a wide variety of different things. We do a lot of social events. We have a Halloween party that we do every year. We have queer prom, which is like a dance, a party dance for LGBTQ plus students. A lot of folks don't get to go to prom when they're in high school when they're LGBTQ plus, so this is a fun way to sort of get a second chance at that. Um, we also offer lots of like resources. So we have a library that's full of I don't know exactly how many, but more than 1,000 different LGBTQ plus books and DVDs and movies and TV shows, graphic novels, comics, all of those things. We have free HIV testing as well as other sexually transmitted diseases. We can help you test for those. We have we work with other campus offices like writing tutorial services, so they can help you write things. They'll come in and do it at the center. The counseling office, so you can come get therapy at the center, things like that. We also offer a gender affirming closet, which is basically free clothes for anybody who wants free clothes. Um, it's targeted at trans students, who may need to replace their whole wardrobe, which gets expensive. But we had so many donations that we decided, hey, anybody who wants clothes can get clothes. Um,
Mhm.
we also have, I had something in my brain. Where did it go? There's so many things. I forget some of them sometimes. Um,
Maybe
oh, well.
if you'd like to share your
Oh,
screen to show, yeah, the web page from your
I can
center.
do that. Yeah, I can do that. And I just remembered what it was that I was going to say. We have a mentoring program where incoming freshmen or incoming students can get paired with upperclassmen, people who have been on campus for a year or two, who can help them get used to being a student at IU, who are also LGBTQ plus. So yeah, this is our website. We have um, under programs and services, we've got all of the things that I just talked about. Um, we also have information about our student groups that we partner with, as well as transitioning at IU, all gender restrooms, bunch of resources, scholarships, things like that. If you'd like to take some time to look at this more by yourself, it's lgbtq.indiana.edu. That's our site.
Awesome. It looks so nice, complete, and I'm sure that the students can learn a lot and also have fun okay, meet other students with similar interests. So, wow, I mean, it looks awesome, very good. And also, I remember that we were talking about another resource that is Campus Pride Index, that
Yep.
web page. Okay, could you please tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. Yeah. Campus Pride is a nonprofit organization in the US. It's a charity um, that looks at different colleges and what they're doing to support LGBTQ plus students. Um, so, they have like a checklist of a bunch of different things um, that colleges and universities can be doing to support LGBTQ plus students. And it will you can look at whatever school you search. It'll come up and tell you what are they doing or not doing to support students. So um, let me just give this a quick search and pull this up so you can see what it looks like.
Awesome. Yeah, because
um,
our international students are always interested in finding welcoming universities that support LGBTQ plus students. So they want to feel safe. They want to feel that they will find people with similar interests. So I think this web page is very helpful to give them an idea on among more than 4,500
yes.
institutions in the United States. That is a world of opportunities. So where to look for and where to find, right? These places.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is the University of Maryland College Park that just was the first thing that came up when I looked for it. Um, and you can see if you scroll down here, we have each of these different line items. They will have a check or not have a check. Is the university doing that thing or not doing that thing? And so this can give you a quick little check of, is this university doing the things that it needs to be doing? Um, there's a couple things that are not on here that I would like to see on here, but I think it's a really great place to start doing your research.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. So I would like to ask Joanna, who's supporting us. Thank you, Joanna, for being here as well. Could you please copy the links and paste them in the chat box so that our attendees can find this information, please, easily? All right. So it's awesome to find all these resources that I think they are kind of new. We can say that they're kind of new, right? Because they didn't exist or we didn't. Many people didn't know about all these resources like, I don't know, maybe 10 or more years ago. So how can our students, our international students, find, for example, these kind of activities, services, programs available on campus for LGBTQ plus students? So especially before they arrive to the United States.
Yeah, so I think it's really important to do your research if you are an LGBTQ plus student coming to the US, because there are a lot of campuses and colleges that do a really, really good job, and there are some that do not do a good job at all of supporting LGBTQ plus students. And so it's really important to look at what is this campus doing, find their programs, find what they offer before you make a decision about where you want to go, or even maybe where you want to apply. So I would encourage you to do a couple different things. Um, First and foremost, about 300, Liz said there's like more than 4,000 colleges and universities in the US. About 300 of those have LGBTQ plus culture centers or other sorts of centers that support LGBTQ plus students. Um, so that's a really good place to start, is to see, does this campus that you're looking at have a center? Um, you can also take a look at, do they have a student organization for LGBTQ plus people? So is there like a club of students who are LGBTQ plus, and what is that club doing? I mean, are they putting on events? Are they engaged in advocacy work? Are they representing and talking to administrators to the campus about what LGBTQ plus students need and want? What is that student organization doing, right? Also, I mean, you can just type in like Indiana University LGBTQ and press enter on Google, and just sort of see what comes up, or whatever. Of course, whatever other university you're looking at. I think that it seems a little silly and simple, but I think it's a good way to just sort of see what's out there, right? And if you do that search and nothing is there, then maybe that maybe that campus is not the best fit for an LGBTQ plus student, right? If they're not advertising that, hey, we welcome you and here are the things that we have to support you. So yeah, that would be my first thought. Some of the resources that we have on campus at Indiana University Bloomington, not to brag, but just so you know what some places have, right? So you can look for stuff. Of course, I mentioned all of the stuff that the center does beforehand. We also have Queer Student Union. That is a large student organization that does sort of those things that I talked about before. We host programming, we talk to administrators, we have a website and a social media page and a newsletter, right? So that's one resource. We also have the Student Health Center offers the Gender Affirming Care Team, which can help trans students access hormone replacement therapy and other sorts of transition related care too. So those are just some things that you might want to think about if that's important to you.
Yeah, that's awesome advice. Okay, and we as Education USA advisors, okay, the first thing that we recommend you guys is going through a webpage called College Board. Okay, so College Board is a great resource also that helps you also finding the universities that go more with your interests. So once you receive a list from like around 20 to 30 universities, so then you can do what Caitlin just shared with all of us. Like, for example, write down the name of the university and write down also the word LGBTQ, right? So if you find something interesting and you see it, the university's webpage as welcoming and mentioning also what they're doing in terms of inclusion, in terms of welcoming these communities. Okay, so that's a very good place to start your research. Okay, more in depth. Okay, nice. So what about academic programs? What kind of programs do universities offer so that would be interesting for the LGBTQ community to learn about?
Yeah, so there are a lot of universities in the US have some sort of department that studies LGBTQ plus people in society and, our needs and our experiences and things like that, right? Um, Depending on where you go, it's going to be called different things. You might see um, gender and sexuality studies. You might see gender studies, you might see queer studies, you might see women's studies. There's all sorts of different names for the similar. I mean, all of those terms are like a little bit different, but they're all similar. So those departments are a good place to look. IU, for example, has actually a pretty highly ranked gender studies department. And we have also the Kinsey Institute, which is a very sort of prominent research institute on gender and sexuality. But you certainly don't need that level of fanciness in order to learn some really important information. So a lot of universities will have you'll be able to minor or even some places major in gender studies or queer studies or LGBTQ plus studies or whatever whatever they might call it.
Yeah, okay, just to make it clear to our students here, and Joshua, are you Mexican or Latin American?
I am Mexican, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to say this in Spanish. So, un major es como su carrera, el título con el que van a salir. Y un minor es como una especialidad del major, ¿sí? Entonces, en Estados Unidos estudian, por ejemplo, no sé, Women's Studies, ¿no? Estudios de la mujer, y aparte pueden estudiar un minor, por ejemplo, acerca de queer communities, ¿no? Las comunidades queer. Entonces, es muy padre porque pueden escoger, es muy flexible la educación en Estados Unidos en ese sentido, porque hay universidades que les pueden ofrecer 1 o 2 minors, ¿no? Como subespecialidades de la carrera principal. Y también pensando en estudiar una maestría, sucede lo mismo. Puede ser también como un mix entre una cosa y otra, que tengan relación. Puede ser hasta historia, no sé, en una maestría pues es más específico, ¿no? Ya saben que es como una especialidad de la licenciatura o de también otros estudios que quieran hacer complementando, ¿no? Okay, thank you. All right, so that's awesome.
Good to have that explanation in there.
Yeah, okay, so because here in our education, we don't have minors.
Makes
So
sense.
yeah, all right, so that they understand the difference.
Yep.
And can you tell us, Caitlin, how can US universities help students to feel safe on campus?
Sure. I mean, that is a really complicated issue, right? There are lots of things that, like different places are going to, um, have different environments, different cultures, right? I think, at least in the US, I can't speak to Mexico, but I think in the US, there's often this idea of, oh, you go to a country and every place in that country is like similar culture. People sort of think the same, and that's it. That's definitely not the truth, right? That's definitely not the case. Some places in the US are much more welcoming and much more safe for LGBTQ plus people than others. For the most part, big cities are going to be safer. If you're in a larger town or at a larger university, you're going to be more safe than in a small town or at a small university. So I think, of course, there are some things that just, are good to do in general. Not going out at night, maybe carrying some sort of self-defense, something or other, to protect yourself, right? But I think in general, most LGBTQ plus people tend to feel safe walking around in larger cities or on larger campuses, being visibly queer, visibly LGBTQ plus during the day without any problem. So I think in terms of what campuses and universities can do, first and foremost, it's just culture, right? Making sure that students know that, discrimination is not acceptable and things like that. But also there's a lot of different resources. So, for example, one thing that IU does is we have, I forget what it's called. It's like safe ride or something like that, guaranteed ride home. People call it different things at different places. But basically what it is if it's dark, if it's nighttime and you don't feel safe, you can call this, resource, and 2 people who work for the university will come in a car and pick you up and then take you home, so that you don't have to walk at night, by yourself. So that's an example of something that, you can watch out for or research, if you're thinking about, where you want to feel safe when you come to study.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And yeah, that's great support. And okay, this is one of the things, guys, that I think it's important to know about. That is part of the services that these universities offer to LGBTQ plus students, right? What other kind of services? And you can also contact people who are part of the international admissions. Yes, or people like Caitlin who are part of an LGBTQ plus center. So always look for these resources when you look for the information in their webpage, right?
And
I don't know. Yeah.
a lot of places will also have a center that specifically supports Latino students as well. So that would be an option to look at too.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. So, and there are also institutions that are called Hispanic serving institutions. So, yeah. Okay, so that's great resource also, Caitlin. Yeah, thank you. So, any last comments or tips or recommendations that you'd like to tell our students today?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing that I just want to leave folks with is number one, do your research, like look around, see what's there. And number two, I think is I would encourage you to talk to somebody. If you reach out to the LGBTQ plus center, the LGBTQ plus student organization, international office, the Latino center, wherever you feel comfortable, wherever you want to do that, you can get connected with current students, and folks will generally really be happy to talk to you. And I think by doing that, you can get a much better idea of what it's actually like to be living there and studying there, than you can just from looking at a website. Although that's also important to see what sort of programs and resources there are. So I feel like you need to do both sides to really get a good understanding of what things are like.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Is there the possibility, Caitlin, to share your email in case that a student would like to contact you?
Sure, absolutely. I will type it in the chat.
Thank you. Yeah, because there are so many possibilities, and sometimes it's hard for students to find someone like you, so nice and open, and so that at least they have the contact of someone who can provide reliable information for them. So thank you. Thanks for sharing it. Okay, so I don't know, Margot, if you want to add up some any comments related to what Caitlin just shared with all of us.
Oh, I mean, I think it was all great advice. I would especially echo the importance of talking to someone. The Campus Pride Index is showing institutional policies, but that doesn't always tell you what it feels like to be on campus. And so, don't hesitate to ask to talk to someone. You can even, when you are talking to an admissions officer, you can say, I'd like to talk to an LGBTQ identified student. Can you introduce me to someone? So I think that that's a really important piece that will give you a sense of what it's like living as an LGBTQ person from day to day in that community.
Awesome.
Absolutely. And I agree with your point on Campus Pride. I mean, it's useful because it tells you, what is the institution doing? Is it checking these boxes? Are these things happening? But it doesn't always tell you what does it actually feel like. And so, yeah,
Right.
definitely
It's
agree.
To start, and then
it is.
Yeah, you dig deeper. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. And well, now let's go with Margot about, let's talk about Point Foundation. Okay, so this is, thank you, Caitlin. And well, talking about financial aid, all of us, yes, need financial aid when we want to go to study to the United States. So there's an awesome resource like Point Foundation. So Margot, could you please first introduce yourself and your role in Point Foundation, please?
Sure. Yes, my pleasure. Hi, everyone. I'm Margot Cowden. I am Chief Program Officer of Point Foundation. Point Foundation is the nation's largest provider of scholarships to LGBTQ college students, from community college all the way up to graduate school. And I oversee everything related to our scholarships of support for students and the programming that accompanies it. So it's really exciting to get to talk to you. One of our points of pride is that we support international students who are studying in the United States. And we are always eager to share information with more international students to get the word out there. Before I started doing the work I do now with Point Foundation, I was a professor. I taught women's gender and sexuality studies, and I supported student activists on campus and worked closely with LGBTQ students and other LGBTQ faculty. And so, you know, it's really, it is my passion to think about how we create opportunity for LGBTQ students everywhere and people more broadly. I just happen to specialize in education. So that is me. Point Foundation, we've been around for 20 years, but we just started in the last 5 years expanding a lot. And this year, we are supporting 575 students at universities across the United States.
Okay, awesome. So personally, I didn't know about this foundation, and I really find it so interesting that they are so committed to support LGBTQ plus communities. And well, guys, this is a great opportunity for all of you to be today and to know more about this information. And let me tell you, well, for our Mexican students, community colleges are 2-year universities, son universidades de 2 años. Entonces, esta fundación apoya a los estudiantes que quieren estudiar en una universidad de 2 años, que es como un tecnológico aquí en México, hagan de cuenta. Entonces, si quieren hacer sus estudios en el tecnológico de Estados Unidos o en una universidad de 4 años, 4-year university, que también esas universidades pues son más grandes y después pueden estudiar una maestría, un doctorado, pero pues el apoyo es para cualquiera de los 2 tipos de universidades, ¿ok? All right, so let's continue. And Margot, about Point Foundation, okay, so would you like to share your screen to show us the webpage, please? Oh, okay, now we can see it.
Yeah.
And could you explain a little bit about it?
Absolutely. So we are at pointfoundation.org, and you'll find all kinds of information on this website. But the page I'm on right now offers an overview of our 3 different scholarship programs. We offer what's called our flagship scholarship program. This is the original scholarship program that Point started with, and it provides financial support for up to 4 years of undergraduate or graduate education. The average financial support that's provided with a flagship scholarship is $12,000 a year. Although that varies, it's based in part on financial need. And flagship scholars also are involved in a lot of different leadership development programming. The bigger goal of Point Foundation is to support the next generation of LGBTQ leaders who are going to continue the fight for LGBTQ liberation and justice. So to do that, we have scholars attend in-person and virtual programming that's designed to, you know, help them build on existing leadership skills and make the change that they want to see in the world. So flagship scholars join us at what's called the National Leadership Conference that we hold every other year. They also participate in a mentoring program. It's a group mentoring program where you are working in a small group with other LGBTQ students and 2 mentors focused on a specific set of goals that you want to work on. And you also have access to our whole network of Point alumni. We have more than 700 alumni who are all LGBTQ people who used to be students, who used to be where you are, who are eager to support you and help you find your way in the world. So that's another big piece. The Community College Scholarship is a program we started about 5 years ago. It provides 1 year of financial support for students who are completing community college. So it's really designed for people in their last year. And we will, in addition to financial support, provide coaching and mentoring to help students apply to and transfer into a 4-year university. In the United States, that's one of the best ways to get into highly selective universities, is to start in a community college and then, really get amazing grades there and then transfer. So we work with students to do that. We also support students who are hoping to complete an associate's degree and join the workforce. And we have some specialized scholarships focused on specific areas, professional areas. So we have a scholarship that's just for students hoping to become hairstylists, the Bumble and Bumble Scholarship. And that's just for, folks in cosmetology school. In addition to the Community College Scholarship, we have our newest program, which was started in 2020. This is the Black, Indigenous, and People of Color Scholarship, which is for any LGBTQ identified person that does not identify as only white, that identifies as a race other than white. This is designed to help offset immediate financial barriers to pursuing higher education. So it's a grant of $1,500 that you receive as a one-time payment, and then you receive programmatic support from Point for a full year. And BIPOC scholarship recipients also benefit from a special series of workshops that we host that are called BIPOC Expert Coaching Discussions. And this is a series that was designed by and for LGBTQ students of color who, where they can talk about the issues that they want to talk about and that are really focused on the intersecting experiences of LGBTQ students of color. In particular, we have a workshop focused on mental health and well-being for LGBTQ students of color that is that's really popular. The Community College Scholarship and the BIPOC Scholarship are two fastest growing programs. This year, we welcomed over 90 community college scholars, and we will be awarding more than 200 BIPOC scholarships this year. The flagship scholarship is, it's a very competitive scholarship. This year, we received more than 2,500 applications, and we awarded 23 scholarships. So it's important to know that going into it, that there's a lot of people who apply for that one. And sometimes we have people who apply several years in a row before they end up actually receiving a scholarship. So those are all of our programs. And we also offer scholars who are already in the community access to other funding, funding for emergencies. If you find yourself in a difficult situation and you need emergency funds. We also have funding to help support conference travel if you want to go to a professional conference and present your research, these kinds of things. So that is what we do.
Awesome. So I'm going to translate a little bit to Spanish to our students. Bueno, lo que comenta Margot de los community colleges, las universidades de 2 años tienen la ventaja de que ustedes empiezan en un community college estudiando 2 años y después pueden transferir sus créditos a una universidad de 4 años, una universidad más grande. ¿Qué ventaja hay de empezar en un community college? Que no les piden un examen de toda la prepa que es difícil. Nada más les piden resultados de TOEFL, IBT o de un examen estandarizado de inglés. Y otra es que son los community colleges hasta 3 veces más baratos que una universidad de 4 años. Aparte de que son mucho más flexibles y tienen tiempo para adaptarse esos 2 años y cuando pasen a la universidad de 4 años. Otra de las ventajas que comenta Margot es que las universidades, o sea que esto es también para estudios de maestría, para luego hacer investigación y todo en los temas LGBTQ más. Entonces, la ventaja es que ustedes pueden aplicar también, ya sea para licenciatura, ingeniería o maestría. Entonces, tienen tiempo también para prepararse. Una cosa muy importante, aquí en la esquina Franklin nosotros les ofrecemos cursos de escritura académica de inglés gratis. Preparación para presentar su TOEFL IBT gratis. Entonces, para que nos sigan en Facebook, Esquina Franklin Guadalajara. Así se llama, Esquina Franklin Guadalajara en Facebook. Y todos nuestros cursos son gratis. Cada 4 semanas abrimos cursos virtuales y tenemos a un profesor de inglés que da los cursos también gratuitos para que se preparen, porque sí las becas son muy competitivas. Entonces, para que estén bien preparados y con los cursos que les damos, más la orientación que yo les puedo dar, pues ya con eso mejoran sus posibilidades de obtener una beca. I explained them that we offer here at the Esquina Franklin Guadalajara all the prep for the TOEFL IBT for free. We have American English language teachers that provide all these guidance, these courses online. And well, all this prep that we know that US universities require, like having a good level of English, right? Starting with that. So yeah, so that's awesome that our students have also this possibility, right, to prepare themselves and to someday get a scholarship like this, maybe, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, that's awesome. And Margot, you mentioned that leadership is a very important quality that our students may need to develop, right? And you mentioned that like to advocate, right, for the LGBTQ plus community. So how can they develop this quality?
Yeah, absolutely. So we, in looking at the applicants for our scholarship and evaluating applications, Point is particularly interested in learning about your leadership and the positive impact you are having in the world. And I want to emphasize that can look a lot of different things, right? It doesn't mean that you're class president or that you started your own business in high school. It means that you are having a positive effect on your community in some way. This is crucial both for Point and also for a lot of US universities. Increasingly, universities want to know how you will be contributing to the campus community when you're there, right? In addition to your academics. So some of the things that you can do earlier in school to help, illustrate your leadership abilities to colleges and scholarship organizations. Look for opportunities to get involved, right? That's just the first and most basic advice. If your school has clubs or student organizations that you can be involved with, that's a good thing. Having a job is another way that a lot of universities will evaluate leadership, knowing that you were balancing work and school at the same time and taking on both of those responsibilities. And then the other thing that I would encourage you to do is when there are opportunities for you to respond to a problem that you observe or a need at school or in your community, do it. take the chance of being the person that takes action to address the problem, right? So if you notice that there isn't a club to support LGBTQ students at your school, maybe that's something that you want to think about, right? Maybe you can start getting students together after school. If that's not safe, which is something that you should consider in starting it, you know, there are a lot of other examples of that. But if you see a need, then work to address that need, right? If there's hunger in your community, what can you be doing to help get food to people who are hungry? How can you support other students who are interested in studying in the United States, right? Can you have an academic club together where you're talking about universities? Maybe you're all doing research together about LGBTQ friendly colleges and universities in the United States. These are the kinds of things that you want to include in a college application or a scholarship application, either in your essay or in what's called the activities list, where you talk about all of your extracurricular activities and what you've done. And these are also things that Point will ask you about. On our application, we ask you to tell us about 3 to 5 meaningful activities that you were involved in. And we want to know how you participated. Did you just show up at meetings, or were you more involved? What impact your participation had on you and on other people, and why you want us to know about this experience, right? You are a complex person. There are a lot of different things you could tell us about yourself. Why are you telling us about this thing? So as you're preparing to apply for Point, and I hope you do, take a look at your activities. And if you need to be a little more involved, if you want to show more evidence of leadership, then make an effort to do those things over the next year. It's possible to really to add quite a lot to your activities list just in the space of a couple of semesters and be involved. So that is the key thing. And I'll say we are invested in this kind of stuff because we are looking for students who can have a kind of ripple effect, who will come to the United States or are in the United States and will come to college campuses and will help to create an environment that is safe for other LGBTQ students, who eventually, you know, will at their jobs be the people who are standing up for LGBTQ people and living authentically. So we're really interested in making sure that each of our scholars right now, and then LGBTQ people more generally, have the confidence to be ourselves and, you know, demand the rights that LGBTQ people deserve. So that is the goal.
That's awesome advice, Margot, that you just gave to our students, because many times they don't know what exactly the foundations, companies, institutions are looking for in our students. So guys, now this is gold, what Margot just shared with all of you. I'm going to say this in Spanish. Es importante que sepan que las becas se les dan a personas que son factores de cambio. Y todos somos líderes en potencia, ¿ok? Todos somos líderes en potencia. Nada más hay que descubrir nuestros talentos, ¿verdad? Y hacia dónde dirigirlos. Nosotros también podemos apoyarlos con ideas de cómo empezar un club, por ejemplo, de apoyo a comunidades LGBT más. Podemos darles ideas también. Tenemos colaboradores también que están en escuelas, que están en gobierno, y de alguna manera ustedes irse involucrando en ese tipo de instituciones. Nosotros con mucho gusto los podemos apoyar según sus deseos, según sus metas, según lo que quieran. Entonces, también cuenten con nosotros para eso. ¿Ok? Muy bien. Yeah. Okay. So, I don't know if you have any additional advice or tips or any additional comments, Margot, that you'd like to share with our students.
I would just say, much like looking for an LGBTQ friendly campus, it's important to do research about scholarships. It can be challenging for international students to get university financial aid in the United States, but there are a lot of private scholarships out there. So there are organizations like, hang on, I'm just pulling up scholarships.org. Nope, that's not the one I was looking for.
Don't worry, take your time. In the meantime, we're going to ask Joanna, could you please share the link to Point Foundation website in the chat box, please?
And Liz, just so you know, I don't think those the chat is available for folks who are watching it after the fact. So we may want to make sure wherever this gets posted that those links are available somewhere too.
Oh, yes, definitely. And I'd like to ask Joshua, if you'd like to receive all this information, could you please share your email in the chat box as well, please? We're going to have all this information filed at the end. So to share all these resources with you and the guys who are here with us in person, we're going to share all this information with you as well. Okay, thank you, Caitlin.
So I'm sharing this. This is just one example of a scholarship directory. There are a lot of these out there if you Google, but it gives you a sense. Scholarships.com is one of the biggest ones, and it gives you a sense of all of the different types of scholarships. So I'm going to come down here and click on special attributes, which is the unfortunate place where they put LGBTQIA+ scholarships. But I'm just going to note that just above this, you'll see that there's a scholarship for left-handed people. There's a scholarship for people who are members of a credit union, who are interested in duck calling. There are scholarships for everybody, and a lot of this money goes undistributed every year. Millions of dollars is not awarded because people don't apply for these scholarships. Now, not all of them will accept international students. Some of them are for U.S. citizens or U.S. permanent residents, or they have their own particular criteria, but it is worth looking through these sites and just seeing what's available, because there are things out there that are smaller, less well-known scholarships, but that can make a big difference when you are looking for money for school. So make sure that you spend some time Googling and looking at different scholarship search sites.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing all these resources, Margot. I didn't know about this webpage, scholarships.com, but it looks like a great resource. I didn't even know that there were so many scholarships divided in so many topics and themes. So it's great to know about this. Thank you.
Sure, my pleasure.
Yeah, all right. So, So to finish our session, Caitlin, do you have any comment or something that you'd like to add to what Margot has just shared with us?
No, I mean, all great advice. And yeah, some of those scholarships get a little bit silly with how specific they are, but it's good. It's free money. Take it, right?
Yeah, yes, Margot.
I was just going to say, I will add just one word of warning, which is that there are some scams out there. So if you are specifically invited to apply for a scholarship and you haven't heard of it before, make sure that you do some research and, see if you can find evidence that it definitely exists and that people have received the scholarship, because unfortunately, scams do exist. But that's another reason scholarships.com and other websites like that have typically done some vetting already. And so they have done some of that work for you.
Oh, yeah. So that's very important. Hay muchos engaños, chicos. Entonces, para que estén súper vivos y atentos, igual también si me pueden compartir, oye, encontré estas becas, son reales y ya yo les puedo ayudar a hacer también esa búsqueda para saber si existen o no existen. And never give money to anyone. So that's something important. That's how you can identify also if that scholarship is real or not. Okay, and I can help you, obviously, always, in order to see if that so-called scholarship is real or not. Okay, yeah, so okay, so Margot has just shared her contact email here. It's info@pointfoundation.org. Okay, so I'm going to include it here. So to the information that I'm going to share with all of you. Foundation. All right. So, okay. Our last thing right now, do you have any question for Caitlin or Margot, guys? Joshua online or our Ricardo, Aurora, or Laura? Okay. Yes, Joshua.
Okay, yes, I do have a question. So as of right now, I'm a couple months away from getting my major in psychology. And I was looking to get a scholarship for a master's degree in the States. And I wanted to ask for like resources or for where can I look for said resources, or if like Point Foundation has like also scholarships for people looking for a master's degree.
We absolutely do. We definitely award graduate level scholarships. And I would say a lot of the same sites that I was mentioning will provide that information. I also think often it's a little more flexible at the graduate level. I think it's easier to find financial aid to pursue graduate study in the United States. And that is okay for complicated reasons about how financial aid works, but I would also say it's a good idea to reach out to the specific universities that you're looking at, and they'll be able to tell you much more about international financial aid for graduate degrees.
And a lot of places for graduate programs will have like you can work for the university and then get paid to do that, and then have your tuition paid for as well as part of that. So definitely worth looking at. They're sometimes called their assistantships, or like there's a couple different names for them, but definitely worth looking into that too.
Sí, okay. There's a great question here as well. And is there an age limit in case of the scholarships that Point Foundation offers, or any other scholarships that you know well?
They're not to my knowledge, and I think that would be unethical if it were the case. Point Foundation does not have an age limit. Our criteria are that you are LGBTQ and enrolled in an accredited US higher education institution or planning to do so. And I would say most scholarships don't have an age limit. I'm also going to say, unfortunately, I'm interviewing candidates for a job, and I have one right now, so I'm going to have to hop off. But thank you all so much. This was such a pleasure. Please reach out to Point if you have other questions or we can be helpful.
Yeah, thank you, Margot. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
Bye. Bye, see you. Okay, entonces comentó que no hay límite de edad hasta donde ella sabe. Any other question? No? Okay, well, that's it for today. Thank you, Caitlin. We really appreciate you being here, sharing all this important and interesting information with all of us. Okay, so thank you to Joshua and our students here at the Skinner Franklin Guadalajara. Okay, so I'm going to share also my email, Joshua, in case that you'd like to write an email to me. Okay, so I'm Liz Arroyo, and it is Arroyo. Oh, hold on, please. Okay, so this is my email. Okay, are you in Jalisco, Joshua? Located here? Okay, great. Awesome. Well, thank you very much again, Caitlin, for being here. Thank you, Joshua, and our students here at the Skinner Franklin, and see you soon. Have a great evening, everyone. Bye-bye.